Alright homeowners, here's some shelving from IKEA that I'm going to put together, and I'll show you how to put it together. It comes bundled up like this, and there are instructions and some hardware in the middle of it all. So I'm going to get a pair of scissors and cut these straps apart and grab my power tools, and we'll show you how to put it together. Alright, so once you unbundle it all, you'll have some planks of wood and some shelves and some cross braces right here. These funny looking instructions that they always give you. That's what the other side of it looks like. And you'll get some L brackets and a whole bag full of screws. Usually, a lot of times with these, with whatever you buy from there, there's a lot of like screws that have like a Torx bit at the end. These don't. These are actual screws. So I'm gonna get a socket and a wrench and get that set up to make this go along a lot quicker. Alright, so what I've done is I've set up a socket, and the bag of hardware that I have, it ends up being a 10mm socket. So I set up a socket wrench with that. The directions tell you to take the two pieces of wood and put all the shelves lined up, and then bolt the wood into the other edge of these holes. Well, if you don't have a helper like I don't, you're probably better off to get the bottom started, put a bolt in it, and then connect to the top, and then you can probably, I'm going to put the shelves in the middle once I have that secured along with the other piece of wood. So I'm going to do that right now. So what I did is I got the bottom screw started by hand, and now I'm going to use my socket wrench to get this into place. Okay, so when you're screwing the screws in, make sure that the screws are going in straight, because this is pine, and if it starts to go off center on you, it's easy to kind of have a screw poke through the side. And it also helps to have a helper, hold the shelves in place while you're ratcheting these down. So I'm going to continue on with this, and I'll show you the next step. Alright, so I have screws screwed all the way in at the bottom shelf. So now what I'm going to do is go over to the top shelf, and I'm going to secure one end of the top one, and that'll add some stability while I'm trying to add all the other shelves in and the other piece of wood on the other side. One thing to note also is which way these are positioned. I have the bottom ones positioned per IKEA's instructions. This way, this is how they show to put it together. So just make sure when you're putting the shelves together, all these little L's are facing the same way. And looks like they kind of use this as like a little bump stop on the shelving. Right now I'm going to fasten the top shelf, and just like the bottom shelf, the instructions show you how to use this outer edge hole. There are 2 holes throughout the whole plank. So following along with the instructions, I'm going to attach this top shelf, and then we're going to go to the other side and add the other straight piece of wood on, and then we can get to the middle shelf. Doesn't take a whole lot of time. You don't want to crank down on these. Just make sure they're snug, because this is pine and it'll split pretty easy. These are nice shelves, but you just gotta be careful when you're putting some of the stuff together. Okay, moving on over to the other support brace. We've got this side already connected at both ends. So we're gonna move over to this other side, and we're gonna match up this hole with that hole on the other end of the shelf. We'll connect that with the socket and the screw that's provided, with the shelving. Then we're going to go all the way up to the front, and we're going to connect it up there. And then we're going to put all the shelves in the middle. That way there, if you're doing this yourself, it'll be a little bit easier. And it'll be easier to connect all the shelves up, and you won't have to balance it around as much. Alright, so now that I have the other side fastened on both ends, I'm going to go down the middle and put these 2 remaining shelves in. I'm going to space them evenly apart, and just going to secure them using those outer holes like they show us to do on the instructions. Just line up the holes, and like I said earlier, start the screws by hand so you don't mess up the wood. Just take your time with it. And it doesn't take a whole lot of time to put the shelf together. It's pretty easy. Alright, so now I have both sides of the shelf put together, and what you're going to do next is you're going to flip this over, and you're going to connect the 2 other pieces of wood to the other end, just as you did in the first part of this video. So we're going to flip this over, and now is a good time to also make sure that everything's lined up correctly. And you can place the two other pieces of wood on the other side and screw those together on those end bolts as well. Alright, so I've completed the process of attaching the two side rails, and it's all bolted together. The next step is to stand this up on end and make sure that everything is aligned correctly, and then they give you a couple of cross braces to put on the back of it, and I'll show you how to attach those. Alright, so I have the shelving on end, and now I'm going to put the cross braces on. So what comes supplied with the hardware is this cross brace, and this is what we need to add last. And it does come with 4 screws, and it comes with a package of brackets too. Once you have the shelf set into place, if you want to, you can add these brackets on to the shelf and secure them into the wall. And for this job, I'm going to use my cordless drill to help speed things up. So basically what you want to do, once you have the shelf stood up on end, is make sure it doesn't rock and it's all level. And once it's all level, you're going to add that cross brace on, and that'll help to keep it level. Alright, so what you're going to do is you're going to take this cross brace, and with the screws provided, this is the top of the shelf, you're going to want to come down and screw right into the wood where there isn't a hole, above the second shelf, and then kind of make it like an X pattern, and then go down here and center that in the middle and get the bottoms connected in the top. So right now I'm going to grab my screw gun and set this into place. So I've got one screw connected, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to the other top screw, and I'm going to set that in place next. And then I'm going to go over to the bottoms and do the two bottoms. Once these are screwed in, you want to make sure that they're somewhat even on both sides towards the middle of the boards. And once those are done up top, secure the bottom ones in, and then you should be all set to place your shelf wherever you want to place it.